You are the only one who actually went there and accepted it, which probably surprised everyone. I thought it would be boring, but it turned out to be a lot of fun. Natalie Wood was one of Hollywood's biggest stars. She was talented, beautiful, and strong. However, not many people knew that she was always anxious. In 1981, she drowned near Catalina, and her death was considered an accident. But for the last 40 years, many questions have been left unanswered. Did she fall, or was she pushed? Natalie Wood had many bruises on her body. Why did her husband, Robert Wagner, and the last known witness stay quiet for so many years? Things are changing now. New evidence, conflicting stories, and details that haven't been shared before are surfacing. For years, Hollywood has ignored Natalie Wood's tragic death. But is this the time when the truth will finally come out? We will investigate every clue, connect the events, and maybe the truth has been hidden in plain sight all along. Natalie Wood had a regular upbringing and was born Natalie Ezekir on July 20th, 1938 in San Francisco, California. She was the daughter of Russian-Ukrainian immigrants. Her father, Nicholas Zakharov, was a carpenter from Usis, while her mother, Maria Zudova, came from Barul. The Wood family had a complicated history, fleeing Russia after the Civil War, living as refugees in China before finally settling in the United States. Maria, her mother, was not just ambitious, she was obsessed with making her daughter a Hollywood star. No choices, no childhood, only a meticulously planned future. When Natalie was still a child, Maria uprooted the entire family from Santa Rosa, California to Los Angeles after a director noticed the little girl during an outdoor film shoot. At just 4 years old, Natalie appeared on screen by 7. She starred alongside Orson Welles in Tomorrow is Forever, a turning point in her career, but no one knew was that behind one of her most emotional scenes lay a moment of profound psychological trauma. When Natalie struggled to cry on cue, Maria ripped apart a butterfly right in front of her, the instant that a fragile creature was hurt, and Natalie started crying. The scene went well. Orson Welles once called Natalie Wood a great actress, but was she really great or just a child who couldn't manage her feelings? When she was 9, she had a scary accident while filming a river scene. She fell into the water and almost drowned. After that, she was scared of water for the rest of her life. She never swam or went underwater again. This accident also caused a lasting injury. Natalie's left wrist had a small bump from an accident, so she always wore a big bracelet to cover it up. Sadly, many years later, her body was found in the waters near Catalina Island. It was surprising because she was scared of water and had gotten into a boat alone at night. This wasn't just a sad accident. It was an important part of one of Hollywood's biggest mysteries. Natalie found success when she was very young. At just 8 years old, Natalie Wood achieved fame with her role in the 1947 film Miracle on 34th Street. This movie became a favorite Christmas classic and was a turning point in her career, making her one of Hollywood's top child stars. In the film, she played Susan Walker, a smart but doubtful girl who learns to question the idea of Santa Claus. Everything changes when she meets Kris Kringle, an old man who claims to be the real Santa. The movie was very successful. Miracle on 34th Street won 3 Academy Awards, including one for Best Original Screenplay. What made the movie so special was its touching message about belief and magic. Natalie Wood, at just 8 years old, gave a natural performance that showed innocence, curiosity, and deep emotion. Her character gradually began to believe in Christmas miracles, and her acting made her a popular child star in Hollywood, setting the stage for a successful career. However, Natalie's early success as a child actor didn't mean her path would be easy. Her mother was very controlling, and Natalie felt great pressure to stay famous while also fearing she might be forgotten as she got older. Although Miracle on 34th Street helped start her career, it also led to a constant battle in a tough industry. Many child stars who became famous early often faded away just as quickly, like flowers that bloom too soon. Young actors face the challenge of growing up. People love seeing a cute child on screen, but it's hard for them to stay that way forever. Not everyone can transition successfully to adult roles. Natalie Wood understood this struggle. She didn't want to be forgotten when she grew up. In 1955, she got her big break in the film Rebel Without a Cause, which focused on teenage rebellion and starred James Dean. This was a key moment in her career. Judy was a young woman struggling between being rebellious and wanting love. This struggle ruined her image as a child star, but made her a symbol for a new generation. However, not many know that Natalie Wood almost didn't get the role. Director Nicholas Ray thought she couldn't capture the spirit of a troubled girl because she seemed too well behaved. He felt she didn't have the wild attitude that the character needed. But one night out with some rebellious friends changed everything for Natalie. After a car accident, she was hurt and still bleeding and bruised. Despite this, she went straight to Ray and asked a powerful question that changed everything. Am I bad enough for the role? That line got her the part. From that moment on, Natalie Wood became a serious actress, moving on from being a child star. She received her first Academy Award nomination for her role in Splendor in the Grass in 1961, where she played a young woman struggling with deep emotional issues. Natalie delivered strong performances in 2021, showing her talent in West Side Story, one of the best musical films ever. The movie, inspired by Romeo and Juliet, tells a story of forbidden love between two young people from rival gangs in New York. Now, even though her singing voice was dubbed by Marni Nixon, Natalie's presence on screen was captivating. Natalie Wood became a symbol of 1960s Hollywood, achieving what few child stars manage. She became a legendary figure. Despite receiving 3 Academy Award nominations, her career wasn't always easy. While she was a celebrated star, she also struggled with personal issues. After her big roles in Rebel Without a Cause and during the successful late 1950s and early 1960s, she showed her talent again with a powerful performance in Splendor in the Grass in 1961. She received her second Oscar nomination, showing she could handle challenging roles beyond the typical Hollywood beauty stereotype. By 25 years old, she earned her third Oscar nomination for Love with the Proper Stranger in 1963, making her one of the youngest actresses ever to get 3 nominations, a record that lasted for years. Along with these important roles, she also took chances with more commercial films, including Sex and the Single Girl in 1964, and 1965, she acted in The Great Race alongside Tony Curtis. Her ability to speak Russian helped her character in a challenging car race across Siberia. By the mid-1960s, she was one of Hollywood's top stars alongside Elizabeth Taylor and Audrey Hepburn. However, even at the peak of her fame, she faced criticism for her acting. Movies like Inside Daisy Clover, 1965, and This Property is 1966 earned her Golden Globe nominations, but also received mixed reviews. Critic Pauline Kael once said that actress Natalie Wood was the most carefully crafted star in Hollywood. Not every movie she made was a hit. After her 1966 film Penelope, which was not well received by critics, Wood felt lost and admitted it was one of the most stressful experiences of her career, so much so that she even broke out in hives from the pressure. Around that time, she was also given the Worst Actress Award by the Harvard Lampoon, a harsh title. However, rather than hiding from this criticism, she continued to face it. She made a brave choice by showing up in person to accept an award, becoming the first actress to do so. However, she didn't know that it was a setup. A rival group created a fake ceremony with motorcycle escorts and a fake royal procession just to make fun of her. Years later, when she talked about this experience on the Dick Cavett Show, she didn't avoid the topic. Instead, she laughed about it, proving that she was a woman who was not afraid to confront failure. By 1966, she felt a stronger connection to Hollywood, but decided to take a bold step and pause her career for 3 years to focus on her mental health. She left all her contracts and fired her agents and publicists, which was unusual for someone at the height of fame. During this break, she took time for herself and went to therapy. When she returned in the late 1960s, she made a big comeback with the film Bob and Carol and Ted and Alice in 1969, which dealt with themes of sexual freedom. The film challenged traditional moral values and stirred controversy not only because of its bold themes, but also because Wood, known for her elegance and classic Hollywood style, took on a role that changed her image. This decision split public opinion. Some admired her bravery for pushing boundaries and growing as an actress, while others criticized her for trying to follow trends to revive her fading career. Despite the mixed reactions, the film was a big success and won her a Golden Globe. After being nominated for a Globe, Wood chose to step back from acting for a personal reason. In 1970, she became pregnant with her first daughter. Later, she moved to television and tried different types of roles. Her performance in From Here to Eternity in 1979 showed that she was still a strong actress, earning her a Golden Globe and confirming her talent. And in 1981, she decided to come back to movies. Let's think about a science fiction movie that was supposed to bring back an actress, but then everything changed unexpectedly. One night altered the course of the film before it could finish, leaving many questions unanswered. Hollywood has seen many great love stories, but few are as glamorous and mysterious as the romance between Natalie Wood and Robert Wagner. They were more than just a famous couple. They were part of many intriguing tales behind their glamorous image. Their love felt like destiny, but there was more to it than met the eye. Plagued by jealousy, doubts, and turmoil, Natalie Wood first met Robert Wagner when she was just 10 years old. At the time, Wagner was a promising young actor, while Wood was simply a little girl who admired him from afar. But it wasn't until their paths crossed again in 1956, when Wood was 18 years old and already a star in her own right, that their romance truly began. Wood once confessed that from a young age, Wagner had always been her ideal man. Charming, sophisticated, and irresistibly charismatic. When they officially began, the whole of Hollywood was amazed by this couple, not just because they looked good together, but because they created a strong bond that caught everyone's attention. Instead of a flashy proposal like many celebrities have, Wagner chose a simple yet romantic approach in 1957. During a fancy dinner, he secretly put a pearl and diamond ring in a crystal champagne glass which had "Marry Me" engraved on it. When Wood found the beautiful ring in the warm candlelight, she was filled with emotion. A few months later, they seemed to have a perfect Hollywood marriage, but behind the scenes, their relationship had many insecurities and problems. At that time, Wood was a very popular actress, and Wagner was also in high demand. Their busy careers kept them apart, which caused a growing emotional gap. The main issue in their marriage was Wagner's jealousy, as Hollywood was full of short-lived romances, and Wood was often around attractive suitors. Rumors started that Wagner was jealous of Wood's friendship with Warren Beatty, a famous actor at the time. As tensions grew, their once happy relationship began to fall apart. In 1962, after 5 years of marriage, they officially got divorced. It seemed like their story was over, but life had different ideas. After they separated, both moved on to new relationships. Wood started dating and later married producer Richard Gregson, while Wagner, he started a new family. But even though they lived separate lives, their bond remained strong. In 1972, after Wood got divorced, they unexpectedly met again at a party, and all their old feelings returned. Just a few months later, they married again in a small ceremony on a yacht near Malibu, without any fuss. They were just two people trying to reconnect and find a peaceful future together. However, while their first marriage ended due to jealousy and stress from work, their second marriage would face its own challenges. They faced the same problems, but this time the effects would go much further than they expected. Their love couldn't fix the issues in their relationship. Wagner was still very possessive, especially about Wood's interactions with male co-stars. The biggest source of trouble in their marriage this time was Christopher W. Wood's co-star. They had gotten through tough times before and thought their love would last forever. However, less than 10 years into their second marriage, fate took a harsh turn for Natalie Wood. The tragic and mysterious death of Natalie Wood is one of Hollywood's biggest unsolved mysteries. Her relationship with Robert Wagner was complicated, full of love, tenderness, betrayal, and tragedy. They divorced but later remarried. They cared for each other deeply but also had their doubts. Sadly, only one of them is left to share their story. On November 28, 1981, Natalie Wood got onto the yacht Splendor for a weekend getaway near Santa Catalina Island. Robert Wagner was with his co-star Christopher Walken and Dennis Davern, the yacht's captain, on a relaxing trip. Unfortunately, just 6 hours after Natalie Wood was reported missing, her body was found floating in the water about a mile from the yacht. The night began well, with dinner on Catalina Island, wine, and pleasant conversation. However, according to Captain Davern, things became tense as the night went on, and Robert Wagner started to feel jealous of Walken. After WCON complimented Natalie's skills and urged her to keep working on her film career, Wagner became very angry at the dinner table. He sarcastically said that WCON only wanted to be with his wife. The tension grew when they got back on the yacht, and Wagner broke a wine bottle on the table, shouting that he was tired of Natalie putting her career before their marriage. Realizing things were getting out of hand, Wagner went to his cabin. Soon after, a loud argument broke out. Captain DeVerne heard shouting and sounds of things breaking from the back of the boat. When he knocked on the door, Wagner coldly told him to go away. A few minutes later, Natalie was missing. After that, things got even stranger. When DeVerne told Wagner that Natalie was gone, Wagner didn't seem worried. He refused to turn on the yacht's searchlights or ask for help. Instead, he sat down, poured himself a drink, and acted like nothing was wrong. DeVerne later said he pleaded with Wagner to begin searching for her. Wagner ignored his worries about Natalie and decided to leave her in a dangerous situation to teach her a lesson. Unfortunately, this decision had tragic consequences, and Natalie did not come back by 8 a.m. On November 29, 1981, Natalie Wood's body was found in the ocean near an inflatable dinghy. Her husband, Robert Wagner, said she must have tried to take the boat to shore by herself. However, some facts didn't make sense. Natalie had a lifelong fear of water, couldn't swim, and avoided being in it. Lana Wood insisted that her sister would never willingly get into a small boat at night. The autopsy report showed that her sister's body had 28 bruises, a scrape on her left cheek, and injuries on her wrists, which suggested a struggle before she drowned. Another disturbing detail came from a couple on a nearby boat who said they heard a woman screaming for help in the middle of the night. They remembered her crying, "Help me, someone, please help me." No one has answered whether Natalie's death was an accident or something more serious. Despite some unsettling details, the Los Angeles County coroner officially decided that she died from accidental drowning due to hypothermia and intoxication. But was it really just an accident, or did a confrontation go too far? For decades, the mystery of what happened that night on the Splendor has continued, making Natalie Wood's death one of Hollywood's biggest unsolved cases. Even 30 years later, interest in the case remains strong. The case had been closed, but in 2011, Dennis Davern decided to speak up after staying quiet for 30 years. He claimed that Wagner was very angry and might have pushed Natalie into the water after they argued. Davern also said that Wagner purposely slowed down the search for Natalie, even though he knew she was missing. Because of these new claims, the police reopened the investigation and declared Wagner a person of interest. At the same time, two new things happened. Witnesses reported hearing a woman scream for help that night, but nobody came to help. These statements raised doubts about Robert Wagner's involvement in the case. At first, Wagner said he didn't know how Natalie left the boat, but later he admitted to arguing with her before she went missing. This change in his story made the police think he might have set up the scene on purpose, allowing the small boat to drift away to mislead others. Another important part of the case is Christopher Wicken's silence. He was a key witness, along with Wagner and Davern, but he never shared what he knew about that night. When asked, he simply called it a tragedy. This unclear answer led to more questions about what he wasn't saying. Even after over 40 years, the case is still unsolved. While there is some evidence that suggests Wagner was involved, there is still no direct proof that he killed Natalie. In 2012, the death certificate was changed to say that Natalie Wood died from drowning and other unknown reasons. 6 years later, in 2018, the Los Angeles Police Department said that Robert Wagner was the last person to see her alive, but he has never been charged. Forensic experts doubt the official report, and some investigators have made disputed claims. Dr. Michael Franco, a forensic pathologist, said that the bruises on Natalie's body looked like she had been hurt by someone. Natalie was either dragged or thrown into the water, but this important evidence was overlooked in the 1981 autopsy report. Another witness suggested that the coroner's office might have hidden the real cause of her death. The public still wants answers. If her death was an accident, why did Robert Wagner wait to look for her? If Natalie got into the small boat on her own, why did she have so many bruises? Most importantly, will there ever be justice in this case? Natalie Wood can no longer speak for herself, but the bruises on her body may reveal the truth about what happened to her. After Natalie Wood's death, Robert Wagner started a new relationship just a few months later with actress Jill St. John. This raised questions about whether he was genuinely grieving for his wife or just trying to avoid the controversy. In 1990, Wagner and St. John got married, which was the fourth marriage for both of them, and became Wagner's longest marriage. He has been married for over 30 years, which is longer than any of his past relationships, including both marriages to Natalie Wood. Even though he has built a new life, the memory of Natalie's death still affects him. There are many unanswered questions, accusations, and conflicting statements that continue to impact how people see him. Did Wagner really move on, or has he been trying to forget the past all this time? Natalie Wood's death not only raised questions but also had a big impact. In 2011, when the case was reopened, many actors and fans called for justice for her. Stars who had worked with her, like Mia Farrow and Jane Fonda, along with many more recent actors, shared their sadness and anger about the unsolved parts of her case. For many in Hollywood, her unresolved death became one of the biggest unsolved mysteries and a symbol of the unfair treatment women face in the entertainment industry. Despite all the controversies, one person has focused on finding answers. Natasha Gregson Wagner has dedicated her life to honoring her mother, Natalie Wood. She often talks about her in interviews, wrote a book called More Than Love, an intimate portrait of my mother, Natalie Wood, and created a documentary titled Natalie Wood, What Remains Behind. Natasha highlights that her mother was not only a beautiful actress, but also a loving mother who took her acting seriously. However, she has faced challenges related to the circumstances surrounding her mother's death. Her stepfather, Robert Wagner, is still being looked at as a suspect in her case. Even though Natalie Wood's life ended sadly, her influence on Hollywood is clear. She had a career that lasted over 30 years and is known as one of the best actresses of the 20th century. Her films are still loved by audiences and inspire many actors today. In addition to her roles, Wood also fought for the rights of female actors, showing great courage. Natalie Wood played complex roles that challenged stereotypes of women in films. She skillfully balanced beauty with inner strength, inspiring future actresses like Meryl Streep, Nicole Kidman, and Natalie Portman. Even more than 40 years after her death, Natalie Wood is still unforgettable. She has a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame, and her films are still important in cinema today. Her life story, which includes both triumphs and tragedies, continues to be talked about. Despite many documentaries, books, and discussions, Natalie Wood's death is still unresolved. However, it's clear that she was not just an actress, she was a legend. The mystery of her death may never be solved, but her impact on film and pop culture will last forever. Natalie Wood was a skilled actress and a Hollywood icon, but she is also remembered as a victim of one of the biggest mysteries in entertainment history. Even after 40 years, questions about her death still linger. Was it an accident or a crime that was hidden? Did the truth disappear that night, or does it still exist in the unanswered questions? People continue to look for answers. The bruises on Natalie's body, her cries for help, the mixed testimonies, and the strange silence of those on the yacht Splendor create a situation full of doubts and mysteries. The police have reopened the case, but no one has been charged yet. Justice, if it ever happens, is still uncertain. Hollywood was deeply affected by Natalie Wood's tragic death, and her story still captures public interest today. Questions remain about what really happened that night. Was it an accident, or is it possible that a crime has been hidden for many years? What are your thoughts on this case? Share your opinions in the comments. While the truth may be hidden, justice is still important. If you're curious about Natalie Wood's story and want to learn more about Hollywood crimes, make sure to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss the next exciting video. See you next time.